Yeah, I want to make a couple comments about General Wesley Clark because this is another one that goes around on the internet a lot. Back, I think it was a 2007 interview, he's talked about the hit list in the Middle East. Now, I want you to think very hard about something. Well, if you're actually been in the military and you've been around a little longer, or maybe you understood how things work better, you would realize no general would bring out that information. Nobody. Nobody. This guy was playing a political agenda when he was revealing that, and it may not be something ironclad as you would think, but it may be true. It may be true. But he was playing a political agenda. He wasn't being exactly doing it out of I'm being truthful and spilling the beans. See, General Wesley Clark represents an opposite end of what's in the military largely. For the most part, most of the military, even at the rank and file, are more right wing, for the, generally speaking. Bill Clinton, for instance, was not a popular commander-in-chief, and neither was Jimmy Carter. Ronald Reagan was a very popular commander-in-chief, and so was George Bush. Maybe Reagan was more so, but George Bush was a popular commander-in-chief in the military. The military has a different attitude. It's like, you know, we're going to defend our nation, we're going to kick ass, and we're going to, and if the policy of them, you know, dictates, the foreign policy dictates this, we're going to enforce it as instructed. That's how they work. They respect strong, forceful leaders more than often than not. So I don't really think Obama is very popular in the military. I'm pretty damn sure of it. Not that I researched it, but I'm pretty damn sure of it. This guy endorses Obama, but he doesn't really have a lot of endorsement from. There's not a lot of military endorsement of Obama's policies. Now, I find it interesting that he would reveal the policies of, say, the Bush-Cheney crowd, because, let me put it this way, there's basically different camps in the United States. I'll say two major camps. Maybe Webster Tarpley would say this. I don't know what the hell he would say, but he gets so complicated I can't figure out what the hell he's talking about sometimes. But the way I understand it is, you'll have a camp like the Bush-Cheney camp that, or, you know, others around him that are about global governments, but a strong America leading it. Basically, that's it. Maybe it'll be a strong North America leading it. United States of North America, Canada, United States, and Mexico all together in one hat. I don't know, but they want this area basically to be the dominant group in the United States. The Soros, I don't know who he. I know they say rumored he works for Rothschilds, an agent of Rothschilds. But that wants a weak United States. And see, this guy seems to fit right in with this camp, General Wesley Clark. And that is why he revealed that. That is why he revealed that. Because you got to remember this. No general would reveal information like that. Not in a million years. And I'll guarantee you, if they did, they'd be dead. Something would happen to them. I mean, somebody's not going to shoot them, but they would have a heart attack, you know, they'd have liver cancer and die in 2 months, something. You know, something would happen to them. They just wouldn't be able to make those type of statements. But none of them would make those statements. And it's amazing that some of the crap this guy says, like General Wesley Clark, about, you know, in Beirut, Marines were, you know, in 1982, they had 230 Marines approximately, I think it was, that were killed in a massive explosion of a building they were all staying in. And he talks like it was, well, just what happens, you know, people go to places and, you know, he says that's what happens, you know, they get hurt under different emergent administrations. But, you know, that was the biggest unnecessary loss of life going practically. It was not due to us being over there. It was due to how it was protected. And my suspicion is that it was allowed to happen. That's my suspicion. I don't know if it was or wasn't, but to tell you the truth, that was done. I think that was during Reagan's administration. You know, Reagan initially took blame for that, but what happened is, later on he actually, you know, said it really was part of the command's fault. That commander who was in charge of that should have been lined up and shot because that was ridiculously stupid. You know, anybody with a half a any rank with half a brain wouldn't have done that shit. There would have been a hell of a lot more protection, and they wouldn't have just put everybody in this one big building because it was nice and easy. It would have been spread out. But there wasn't hardly any protection there. But then after that happened, it was there. There was all kinds of things set up after the fact. But this is usually what happens, you know. But, you know, that's another problem in the military. Sometimes a lot of things get lackadaisical. You know, it's almost like, you know, if we need to build a better bridge. Well, no, the river hasn't not washed it out yet. You know, nothing really happened. It still works. That's kind of like what happens in the military, too, because it's really not... it's not until an emergency happens that things really move. And a lot of things, there's a lot of wasted time. If people been in there, they'd understand. So that's where their lives get lost more than anything. If you really want to see the criminal element that goes on in the military, you actually can look deep inside the military and see the bureaucrats that's sucking off the system and they live in a green uniform. That is actually a large part of the big murderers that go on that kill the military off. And it's not even just the politicians or the banksters. It's actually in the military itself. This guy, Wesley Clark, General Wesley Clark, I have an extremely low opinion of this guy. But I want people to realize that, just think, a general revealing that kind of information on national TV, it's like he didn't screw up and say it. He thought very carefully about what he was going to say. Understand? He did not inadvertently slip up one word or some kind of crap. Nope. There's no such thing as a general that does that unless he did it on purpose. And what's the purpose? I mean, really, he's against the elite establishment that's for a strong America. He stands for the other side of the establishment that's for a weak socialistic America. That's what General Wesley Clark's about. So, you know, that's something I have to point out too, because, you know, sometimes when you get a little bit of information, you jump to a conclusion, and it's not exactly the right conclusion. This guy's bad news. You know, he's not a good person. That's my opinion of him anyway. But, you know, I just have to say, you know, basically in the military, for the most part, the military is far more right-wing than left-wing for the most part, especially the higher up they are. Jimmy Carter was not a popular president with the military, neither was Bill Clinton. Ronald Reagan was, George Bush was, and I don't think Obama is either, so to tell you the truth. But I think Romney would have been a lot more popular with the military. I would think so, almost positive of that. But, you know, I don't like the idea of the choice. It's almost like the choice between Democrat and Republican. But you have to remember this, that the opposite end that's sometimes bringing down the elite that are for a strong America but also for global governments with less rights are, you know, it's coming from another area that's maybe even worse. They want a weak America with socialism, communism. That's the Soros group. That's the Soros group. You know, I'm not for either group, but I guess if I really was forced to have to pick, I'd have to pick, you know, the other side, the more right-wing side. But, you know, anybody that goes against the Bill of Rights, as far as I'm concerned, they're a total enemy. So the right-wing side always has to stick with the Bill of Rights. But pretty much most of the people in the military damn well know about the Bill of Rights. They're pretty well educated in that, too, for the most part. At least as far as I know in the Marine Corps. I don't know how it is everywhere else, but in the Marine Corps, most people are pretty well educated in the Bill of Rights. And it's something that's emphasized. But, you know, any general that brings out secret policy is highly suspect. He's not somebody just bringing out the truth. This guy is a careerist to the max. There's another agenda he's behind. That I want people to keep in mind. He's not a good guy. That's what I say. That's my opinion of him.